What is going on? It is your boy Kings and Dreams back in the building, and I got a special guest, my brother Lenny Sigma.
Hey,
Talk to him. What is going on, Lenny?
what's going on, King? I can't complain much.
For sure, for sure. Before we get to the topic, let the people know a little bit about you, where you from, a little bit about what it is that you do, what brought you to YouTube, and things of that sort.
Yeah, definitely, man. For people who aren't aware, I host on YouTube the Sigma Lenny Show. You can follow me on YouTube. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, other places as well. And pretty much what I talk about on my channel is basically manosphere content. What we're trying to do basically in the Sigma Lenny Show is to improve men's self worth. Okay, so we're trying to improve, especially for the young brothers, because pretty much what's going on is they're losing a lot of guidance, and a lot of them kind of need mentors to be able to get them to the right place. It's kind of like when you've been growing up. If you had a single mother or a single father, in some instances, you don't really know where to go. You might some people might look towards the streets and say, hey, this, maybe gang violence or something like that, and then they're like, okay, well, this is my new family, and
Mm,
that's something we kind of try to avoid, them going in that direction and say, hey, listen, there's better ways to life. There's always an exit. If there's a will, there's a way, and that's pretty much what we're trying to do over here at the Sigma Lenny Show.
all right, perfect, perfect, man. Thank you, man. Glad to have you. Glad to have you. All right,
Absolutely.
so the topic of discussion today, we are going to talk about why men, not only men, but why fathers should be the leaders of the household.
Oh,
So,
mhm.
yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh, you good? Okay, yeah. So what I was gonna ask you is that first, do you believe that men should be leaders of the household, and fathers should be leader of the household? And if so, yes, why? And if no, why?
Absolutely. I definitely believe, because if we just kind of recall the natural roots, right?
Mhm.
Traditionally, it was the father. The father had to be basically the breadwinner. He had to go out. He had to go, getting jobs, multiple jobs in some cases. Depending on whether they're in a rural city or they're just inner cities, completely. And what happens is, like, the cost of living,
Mhm.
during those times, it was like, okay, well, we have children, who's going to go out there and make the money, right?
Right.
So the father or the man, and there was a lot of things during that time. We had a lot of like segregation going on and things like that. So culturally it was a bit of a problem, but they still chose men, obviously during that time, to be able to go and get these jobs. And unfortunately, basically in like modern day society, the rules have kind of changed, because we have things that are accessible to virtually anyone. The woman, she can basically go out there and get a job and kind of help out in the household. As far as monetary value, is to kind of help the man out. Um, but unfortunately, it doesn't kind of the story doesn't kind of really end that way,
Mhm.
because you still have some traditional women that kind of really do need that help. And they're like, hey, I need my man to be able to go out there so I can take care of the children. I can go and do shopping. I can go and take the kids back and forth to school. I can make sure they're doing good in school while he go and focuses on building his career. Making sure he's doing self development, and be able to have the focus. Is the biggest thing, because the reason why I say the man specifically should do that is because when it comes to children, and everyone can almost agree with this, you have as far as the child usually has a better bond with the mom. You know what I'm saying? Because women are naturally nurturing. That was the womb you were sitting in. You know what I'm saying? Before you came into this world. So like it's just like a psychology kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I feel like, yeah, the man, absolutely, he should be, the leader. He should, should be going out there making sure that the foundation, the structure of the home is taken care of financially. So y'all can grow as a family. Y'all can grow into bigger and better things. Let's say, for instance, let's just say that let's just give an example. Let's say, father making maybe 35,000 dollars a year. He met mom in high school, and it was his high school sweetheart, and that was they were basically the only people they ever kind of like bonded with, and they're growing up and everything, and they end up having children. Um, what happens is when they get together, and having these children, like I said, um, the income starts to become a problem, right? And then the children, they got needs, you know what I'm saying? So somebody has to be able to choose to be with the children, right? And usually it's the mom, is usually the better candidate, because she has learned from her mom and her grandmother, how to cook, how to properly clean, and all these things. That usually men that's like goal driven, they usually don't have time for it. Like if you look at some bachelors, if they really like really hard focused and working multiple jobs, they're when they come in, they probably just throw their clothes all over the place, right? So you kind of need somebody to go ahead and kind of back you up, and make sure that food is ready, make sure that food is in the home. Like you bringing in the money, but you need somebody to be able to basically monitor that, right? So back to like as far as in terms of salary, while he's focusing on like, okay, we're in an apartment now, we got the kids, I got you, then he gets a promotion. Now he's making maybe 40, 50, right? So now he can maybe, depending on the area, he can go and say, oh, okay, you know what? I want to go ahead and, get a townhouse for us, right? So now he's going to go get a townhouse, right? So it's kind of like kind of like levels. And then eventually he gets another promotion. Now he's making six figures. Now he can go and start looking for like single family homes, maybe a little bit of land, depending on the area. And, their lives elevate, you got like 2, 3 cars, things like that, college, college tuition. Like, that's why I want to eventually teach as well, on how to do like custodial plans for your children,
Right.
And that's why I say like, the father he really needs to be working on the financial aspect or the financial well-being of the family, so they can grow, because we all see it, like we see like Ciara and Wilson, everybody kind of like wants that, that relationship, but the thing is nobody wants to put in the work, that took time,
Right.
for first of all, for those guys to even come together and say, okay, well, we got the same values, let's go ahead and do this thing together, and if I'm not mistaken, they brought in inherited children and things like that. So they're all doing pretty well, because it took time. They had to put in the work, they had to grind. Ciara was up there performing, stage at the stage, and and Russell, making sure his sports career was in check, so he can go ahead and be the best man that he can be for whoever woman comes in his life. You know what I'm saying? And I think that, us as men, we need to, the thing is we need to stop focusing on the woman specifically. And we need to really focus on what can you build in terms of legacy. You know what I'm saying? Because you can, to be honest with you, a man can really fit into any situation. You know what I'm saying? He can adapt. and he has the ability to adapt to any changes, which I, talk about in my rules to the game.
Yep.
Like, yeah, he can adapt to these changes and be able to say, okay, well, boom, let me go ahead and do a 360. Okay, this is what we doing. Okay, let me go this direction. You know what I'm saying? Make sure that we all good. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of like my take on it. Like, yeah, I think that the guy should be, that even if he's not the breadwinner, if she wants to focus on her career, and she's making money, I still think the dynamic should be more so on the man. Because it's a sense of pride in men, and I think women will kind of understand that, especially in modern day. What you got to look at, what makes a man. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
What makes a man? What makes a man really want to go, all for the woman? And it's not, I can't say those terms on on this situation, but it's not all that. You know what I'm saying? It's
Hmm.
also a sense of being a provider.
Hmm.
Like if you look at animals, you know what I'm saying? You got, lions, like, that lion, when he go in his pack, they out there, they ready to go. Boom, we gonna go get this food, you know what I'm saying? And then you'll
Hmm.
see like the female lion, sometimes she'll sit back. She'll sit back and watch. And then while they go and capture the prey and everything, then they bring it back to the family. Then they go and eat, and then the cubs they go and eat. You know what I'm saying? Like it's that male gender that has the sense of being a provider.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's why I think, like, especially in modern day society, like, I hear a lot of talks, on other channels where they're like, oh well, like yeah, if he's not making this, six figures, then I don't want him. He's not on my level. Like, whoa, woman,
Yeah.
reality check.
Right.
Actually, your money doesn't matter to the man, and I really don't.
We
I
go get
really
there.
don't.
We go get there. We
Yeah,
go get
but
there. Don't don't cook
but
too
that's my
much.
but
Don't cook too
that's
much.
my take on it. That's my take.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So a couple of words that couple of key words that you said that grabbed my attention. You said structure. You said
Correct.
structure. You said work. Um, you said legacy,
Hmm.
provider. So let's go with structure. What does structure mean to you, and what do you think that structure does for the household?
Absolutely. I think, to be honest, before you even start a family, you need to have structure. And what structure means to me is, you know, where we're going to sleep at night. Where are we going to live? What location? Is it a
Hmm.
crime-ridden area, right? What do we have certain accounts? So if something happens, like an insurance policy, if I, God forbid, die tomorrow, like, what are my kids gonna have? You know what
Right.
I'm saying? That's part of structure,
Hmm.
which I basically like kind of like, simmer down, I say foundation, right? So,
Hmm.
this is your foundation. Like your foundation has to be definitely shelter,
Hmm.
definitely finance, is a really huge part of it. I know people say, oh, well, money's not, well, money is more than 50% of the whole portfolio when it comes to structure. You know what I'm saying? Like where are these kids gonna go? Like even like certain schools require that your kids, pay for the school lunch. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be able to have certain accounts, be like, okay, well that's getting
Hmm.
taken out of this account, or let's just take it a little bit further. Let's say that you aren't a W-2 guy, right? Let's say
Right.
you a 1099 guy, because a lot of 1099 guys, they kind of like overlook that. That's why I say, like, with the whole six-figure thing. But we're gonna talk about that. So 1099 guys, they have the potential to make way more than a W-2 guy based on taxes coming after the fact.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You don't get taxed until the end of the year. Plus, you get to claim a lot, or even like zero. in some instances. If you look at Jeff Bezos, he claimed on Amazon zero, and people are like, wait, you got all this infrastructure and all these buildings. How in the world? But that's how it is with like 1099 guys. Like, you talking about your construction guys, your laborers. You're talking about your electrician. Your truck drivers. You got so many like basically 1099 contracting positions that make up our whole society as a whole. So yeah, structure is definitely a part of it. Like with the 1099 guys, like a lot of them, they have their wives or their fiance or their girlfriend be the bookkeeper of all their finance. So it's like, okay,
Yeah.
cool, you got the soft skills. Like maybe you dated maybe she working at accounts receivable, or maybe she's like some sort of accounting specialist or accounting clerk or CPA, in some instances, and she can go ahead and look at the books, make sure they're done, from quarter to quarter, or depending on how you're taxed, really depends on your business structure. But yeah, if you're taxed like that, then she can take care of it. You can just go and focus on working. You know what I'm saying? This is why I say like it it really boils down to like, yeah, the guy, like, yes, let him go. And I think women get kind of like fearful from this, because it's like, if you let the guy go and be that provider, even all right, even if you're a female, you got your degree, or like Kevin Samuels says, I'm a PhD, right? Even if you got your degrees, cool, that is phenomenal. That's fantastic. It takes a lot of work and ethic and ambition to be able to complete those degrees. If you make more than a guy, still allow him to be that man, to have the sense of, I'm adding something to this structure. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
That alone will allow a man, like, you will have the power. You know what I'm saying? Because you're giving him power. And I think
Right.
women don't want to relinquish that to a man in some of these days. You know what I'm saying? But that's very important, especially when it comes to structure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then the second word was work. So now you had mentioned like 1099 jobs, and then earlier in the conversation, you had also mentioned like a man, he could start off with 30 to $35,000, and
Mhm.
then kind of building up. So what if a man is comfortable making the average salary in the US anywhere between like 40 to 50, $55,000. He has, he's comfortable doing that. He's been at the company for 10 plus years. He's solid in his job. Now, do you think that that man should have to elevate, or should that man be comfortable where he is?
That's a very good question. To be honest with you, see, here's the deal.
Hmm.
If your relationship, like if you and your companion, and y'all talking about having kids,
Hmm.
if you look at, I want to say, like, for the average, the average income required for a child is like somewhere between 60 to 80,000, and that's per a child. We don't realize how much we spend in a year. Some people go through, like, for instance, like, if
Yeah, it's
you,
about 80. Sorry, not to cut you off. It's about 80
sure,
to
sure.
$85,000 per child.
Oh wow! So I was, I was giving some minimum.
Yeah.
So yeah. So if you think about it, like, yeah, that's very high. So if you guys are
Right.
talking about having a child, yes, you should elevate in your job, because how are you going to afford this? You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Especially if she's the same way, if she's content with maybe working a drive-through or something like that, she's maybe making, depending on the area, it could be $11 an hour, it could be 10, right? In some instances. So yeah, if you guys are talking about having children, absolutely, you need to be on your job. Now, the other way around is, if you aren't talking about having children, having a family, then yeah, it's cool but as long as you are taking the advantage of the
Mhm.
benefits within that career. So, like for instance, you say, okay, well, me and my lady, we got our cats and dogs, right? We're fine. They don't require all this maintenance like Similac and Pampers. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, if y'all have that, then yeah, y'all both as a collective should be working on retirement accounts, having 401k. Some companies these days they don't even match anymore. But if you're getting like maybe 2.5%, on your investment of your money,
Mhm.
then both you guys put that together. I say by the age of 65, yeah, you can definitely retire with like 2.5, rather easily. So and in some instances, like at the company, if you ask them and say, hey, listen, I want to know what you guys are actually investing in. Can I, like kind of like manage, the portfolio a little bit? And some companies will, they'll have you talk to the investment firm, whatever investment firm they use for their employees. They will most certainly allow you to go ahead and talk to them and manage, if it's going to be an index fund, if it's going to be a mutual funds, if it's going to be, and like a Vanguard, VOO, like you can literally manage, and diversify the portfolio. So by the time you guys reach the retirement age, I think it's over 65 now. This is like 66,
Yeah,
or something like that.
you can't work past 65.
Okay, so you can't work past 65. So if you reach that age and you guys, retire, then yeah, you can sit monetize on the beach and have a happy. You know what I'm saying? Driving around in, your drop top convertible, move to Miami and say, let's live to to the end. You
Right.
know what I mean? To death do us
Yeah.
part. So it really boils down to, like, if you comfortable on your salary, you definitely need to be making plans. If you're talking about having a family, you definitely need to elevate. There's no negotiation with that. But if you're not talking about having a family, absolutely have a happy.
Okay. So a little bit of pushback, right? So,
Hmm.
all right. So the man is making $50,000, and let's say the wife, she's working part time, and let's say like her part time job brings her to maybe a little bit under 30, let's say 25 to 30, but she's working part time. So that puts them in the 70 to 75 category.
Hmm.
So technically, you can live that way. Um, what I guess what I'm really trying to ask you is that, like, if he's comfortable where he's at and they're able to collectively get $75,000 a year and have a child, um, do you think that that would still be sufficient for a family?
It's not
Yeah.
sufficient,
Well, sorry,
but
that's a
you
two-part question. So,
sure.
do you think that that would be sufficient for a family? Then, second part of that is, do you still believe that the man should try to elevate?
Well, for your first part of the question,
Yeah.
I I don't feel that's sufficient enough.
Hmm.
You can make it work, and that's depending on your geographical location. Like
Hmm.
you can literally go to Atlanta, and live in mansions at 50K. A lot of people don't even realize that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's literally happening today. And I was like, wow. I was like, it was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I could rent a whole single family home, and rent it for like 13 to 1500. And you got like 5 bedroom single family home. So it depends on geographical location, but
True.
uh, it's risky, and that's the other aspect to it.
Mm.
It's like, okay, well, if she's making, let's say he's making that 50 and she's making
Right.
that 30, 30, 30, 30, 35. I think it's like what you said, 75, right?
Yeah.
So
75. Yeah.
now here's the risky part. If she has a child, she's going to be out of work. So
Right.
now, yes, you can apply for FMLA, all that good stuff,
Hmm.
but if that child puts her through complications through that birth, where she can't work no more because it was a very complicated birth,
Ah.
now he doesn't have that. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have
Right.
that income coming in anymore. So
Right.
now
Doesn't
he
have
has
that
to take care.
security.
Exactly, his financial security. So now he has to take care of all of that and the same time taking care of
Mhm.
her.
Right.
So now he has to go and find a job that has flexibility to allow him to be able to tend to his family's needs. That's why it's very risky. And yes, it happens today all the time. But people find themselves in financial woes because of it. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying?
That is an
Um,
excellent point, man.
yeah, it's a very very risky decision. Like
Mm.
I mean, yes, things happen. We doing a darn thing or whatever. I call it the 1-2. That's my politically correct way of saying it. Y'all doing the 1-2,
Yeah.
and here come little mini me's. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Yep.
Here they come. Now
Hmm.
it's like, okay, cool, we got them here. Now what do we do? You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a very risky situation. Now you said in terms of should he still elevate? Is that correct?
Yes. Correct.
Okay, yes, absolutely. He should. Uh, really every man, honestly, especially. All right, see, here's the deal. If we're talking about today's society, and not just in general, but we're talking about today's society, right? We all as men should be trying to elevate, and the reason why is because there's something called inflation. And
Hmm.
inflation is basically the cost of living as it compares to the income levels that are being basically kicked out in society, right? So like for instance, let's say we got you got like a bag of chips was like what 1994 25 cents, right? Now a bag of chips is almost like $1.09, and then $1.19 in some areas. You
Right.
know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Then you got rents, and a lot of people don't realize like rents they actually go up, and landlords have the right to increase rent year after year after year, and with no cap. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So we got to be able to think
Absolutely.
about things like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why like when people when they buy homes and stuff like that. Yes, it is a process. You got to go through the whole mortgage. You got to go through closing. You got to go through settlement. All the real estate. Agent and the broker and all these fees. Yes, and building your credit and stuff like that. All these things are rather important. Plus, your income also plays a factor into that too. But once you obtain a home, see, you don't have to pay those what they call the rental fees year after year, raising. When you own a home or a mortgage, it goes down. So
Yep.
like for instance, let's say you're a first time home buyer, you got the 3.5%, right? Now what happens is they'll apply something called PMI, right? So that's like an additional an interest on top of the mortgage.
Right.
It's going to be a little high, but it goes down. So the more you keep paying in, and you're paying in and paying in and paying the interest, and the interest of the PMI is off. Now you're just paying principal. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah, it's better that way. But in order to really kind of like get to that level, you have to be able to be looking at your job like, hey, is there any promotions? Can I get a level 2 or a level 3? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Can I go be a supervisor, or can I be,
Hmm.
can I go be a driver if I was a dock worker or something like that? Is
Right.
there, can
Right.
I go get a CDL license to go and work for y'all to make more money?
Right.
So that's why, yeah, you absolutely should be elevating, because the thing is, you get in society with inflation going on, you get capped. So like let's say like, let's just use the guy for an example. He's making, you said 50,000.
Correct.
Let's see, per month that's like what 3,500 or something like that, right? After taxes, he's probably 15,
No.
15.
3,500 after taxes. No.
Not at 50. It's probably like what
No.
15,
So
3,000.
yeah. So if you're making so if you're making like 50K, you have to be making probably about like $25 an hour. So if we do the math, like after taxes, it might be like
1,400.
2,000, maybe like 2,000, 2,100, somewhere around that after taxes.
Okay. All right. So let's say 2,100 every
And
2 weeks,
yeah, and
right?
it also depends on where you live. So people don't know we're both from New York. I'm in Massachusetts. You're
Mm-hmm.
in the DMV, so we're
Mm-hmm.
fairly in the Northeast. So taxes here are more expensive than like South
Absolutely.
or yeah. So yep.
Yes, but yeah,
Yeah, so I want to say roughly like about 20 to 2200, I believe.
about 20. Okay, so yeah, 20. You said 20 to 2200, just
Yeah,
about
and this is after
32
taxes.
after taxes. Okay, so let's say the guy's netting 22, all right?
Mhm.
So let's say his home, you know, let's say his rent is maybe 1700, but year after year is going up like 10 to 15%, right?
Right,
So if he's got everything set out, as far as like food, as far as utilities, we didn't include that, so you got utilities,
right, yep.
garbage fees, all this good stuff. And let's say he reaches a year where his rent is now one whole paycheck. So
Right,
now he's capped. He definitely can't be financing no car. That's out of the question. You know
right,
what I'm saying? Because that's just room for disaster.
right.
And even if he's not, and here's the kicker: even if he's not financing a vehicle, if his vehicle that he has is, has issues, uh, he's now got to go and pay for it.
Yep.
And it's like basically one way. I forget what the saying is. It's like he's one way from broke, I guess. One
Yeah,
paycheck away from broke, right? If
yeah.
something happens, emergency, boom,
Living paycheck to
it's
paycheck.
over. Yeah,
Living
it's
paycheck to
over.
paycheck. Yep. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. The next word you said was legacy. So, what does legacy you think mean to men? And what does it
Mm.
mean to you
Oh man, that
specifically?
means a lot to me. but
Yeah,
uh, but
we'll go with men first, and then drive it home with yourself.
okay, cool. All right. So, legacy, for what I've seen, as far as like, in terms of like just general men, is basically being able to have something that can outlive you, right?
Mm,
So when you're dead and gone, they're going to carry basically the torch, right? Your children. That's what legacy really means to a lot of men is
mm,
you have children and you want them to be, after you're gone, you want them to basically carry the torch. That's why you'll see a lot of men, especially like 1099 men is definitely hard on legacy because they're like, hey, if I, like for instance, if he's been a mechanic for like almost his whole life, that's all he knows is how to fix cars. And he just was able to get this building, maybe he's costing him, 2000 a month or something like that. And he's got these like these decks, the hydraulic systems to push the cars in the air, and he's happy doing that.
mm,
It makes him excited. It makes him get up early in the morning and be able to get these cars in and out. Right now, when he sees his children, he wants them to basically take over the business. So when he can't work no more, he can't be out in the field no more. He wants them to go and take over the business, whether they're soft, if they chose to go soft, soft careers, which is like basically administrative. If they chose to do those kind of careers, he wants them to go ahead and take over the business. Like, hey, go ahead and do the hiring for me, go ahead and do the bookkeeping for me. Just please, if I go, I want you to keep this thing rolling. That's why a lot of men you'll see have their name on it. Like my cousin, he's my first cousin. He has a home improvement business, and he actually put his last name and sons on the name. So he got his last name, and it says and sons. So he has like three. He has three boys, and he told me, he was like, hey, I want them to take this over when I die, right?
right.
So that's what legacy means to him.
Mm,
And he's investing in cryptocurrency. He's
hmm.
like, yeah, I was doing it for a little bit, but then, I'm a impatient, excuse me. I'm an
Ah,
impatient
gotcha.
investor.
Okay.
So I was like, because it's so volatile, it's like, it'll go, whoop, whoop. real quick. So you
Yeah,
gotta have the
yeah,
patience to ride the
yeah.
wave. But
You definitely have to have patience to be in the crypto, Bitcoin. Uh, let's just say patience works though. Patience
it
works.
does. It really
That's for
does.
another video. That's for another video.
That's
But
on
yes,
another video.
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah. So, yep,
generally speaking, yeah, as far as like men, that's what legacy means to them. You know what I'm saying? When they go, even like when it comes to their wife, if they got their wedding ring, they like to pass it on. They like to say, hey, this is my wedding band,
hmm
and I want to give it to my son. And then sometimes like even like the wives too. The wives they believe you got some traditional wives that believe in legacy too. They're like, hey,
yeah,
I want to
absolutely,
pass this dress on to my daughter. They're like, hey, I want to see you. It makes them proud to see their daughter is walking down the aisle. And, and,
right,
and I think, I know this another conversation, but that's what I think we need to kind of like get back to, like, the essence of, feeling, like, hey, this daughter is stepping into her womanhood, and this man is stepping into his manhood. That makes you proud to be a father. That makes you proud to be a mom. And I
right.
think, somewhere down the line we kind of lost that, you know.
Mm, agreed, agreed. I forget what the last word you said was, but drive us home with this. So, uh, you agree that men should be leaders of the household. You believe in legacy, and what is the most important thing for men to have and understand in order to be leaders?
Mm. Well, just like the word I said earlier, patience. See, I'm impatient, okay? And I'm practicing it now, with my household and my lady and my kids, I'm so impatient. And she's like, oh yeah, your son is just like you, just impatient, you know. But patience is a virtue, man. It really
Right.
is. Patience is a virtue. Like you have to have patience. And here's why I say that applies to leadership. See, when you're a leader, you have to have an open mind. You
Yeah.
have to be open to dialogue. You have to be open to other means of expression. You know what I'm saying? So, if your kids, if they think a certain way, you have to be able to have an open mind, because it might not be something that they you might not agree with, but you
Right.
got to be open minded. And then if you lack patience, then yeah, you gonna flip. You know what I'm saying? And that's not
Right.
good to be a leader, because a
Right.
leader is supposed to lead by example. You know what I'm saying? So if you lead by example, and say, oh, you know what, I never thought about that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yep.
wow, you can go ahead and then lead them into a direction to see a different perspective. Then you put your input on, and they're like, oh, you know what, Dad, I never thought about it like that. I'm
Right.
gonna do that. That's how you lead. You
Right.
don't lead with your fist. You lead
Right.
with your brain.
Online.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? And that's
Absolutely.
how you're able to get people to move. And this is not even just in your household and your relationships. This is based on when you in the job, or you just, in general public. Like if you
Right.
walk into the store, you know what I'm saying? And like, okay, well, we don't have cheese on your burger. And like, why y'all never have cheese? I don't understand. The store sucks. You know what I'm saying? You getting flipping all out. Now people like, oh man, here go another one. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
You
Right.
turn
Right.
that into
Right.
what they call Karens. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
that's
Right.
not what
Right.
society needs. Society needs people
Right.
that have a sense of understanding. That's
Mm-hmm.
how we all can be leaders. Everybody in
Mm-hmm.
society has the ability to be a leader. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And we all lead, in our own ways, by keeping an open mind to everybody's differences. And that's how we settle.
Absolutely. Completely agree, man. I completely agree. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for coming on,
And
man. I appreciate it, man. For me, just want to talk to the people here, from listening to what Lenny had to say, and to what I think. I agree men should be leaders. You definitely have to have patience. You have to have a sense of purpose. You have to have a sense of direction, because in order for people to follow you, you have to make sure that you understand what you're doing. And even though that you are a leader, it doesn't mean that you are a dictator. You have to be able to listen to people ideas, be able to listen to different perspectives, and that will actually help enhance your ability to lead. Listening to different ideas and different perspectives, um, being able to have a conversation and being able to keep your emotions in check as well. I mean, here's the thing, just to be transparent, we all have emotions. We all can get upset. Things will bother us. I'm not saying you have to be even kill all the time. That's not going to happen 100% of the time. But a good 85 to 90% of the time, you have to have you have to be on the even kill. You have to have patience and you have to have dialogue. When you don't have the dialogue, it's not going to be conducive to you being a leader. And then people, your wife in particularly, will not want to follow you.
That's a fact. That is a fact. You have to you have to lead by example. You have to,
Exactly.
and I know we're concluding, but I want to say this to you guys.
No, keep it going.
In, in order, and it's a hard conversation. It's a very
Hmm.
hard conversation because see, us guys, we have big egos. You know what I'm saying? That's that ego is what gives us the rush to
Right.
go and do things. You know what I'm saying? It gives
Hmm.
us that drive, that energy.
Right.
Um, the thing is that we have to be able to give a woman something to follow,
Yes.
and
Agreed.
that's the gospel, man. You got to give her something to follow. If she's
Right.
if she's following somebody who, all he wants to do is just one thing. You know what I'm saying? He ain't really got no goals. He not goal driven. He ain't, you know what I'm saying? He not really trying to do a legacy or nothing like that, or trying to improve himself or elevate.
Right.
You ain't really got nothing to offer, bro.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And improvement doesn't mean one thing. You know, you can improve your mind, you improve your body, improve your spirit, improve your understanding, but you have to be improving every day, at least striving to improve. We're all not perfect, but we all need to try to do better. And if you are not trying to do better, as yourself or, as a man, then, your woman should not follow you.
Exactly. You got
You,
to think. I'm
oh, go
sorry.
ahead.
I was just gonna say, you got to think about like this, man. What kind of man would you want your daughter to have?
Mm,
What kind of man would you want your sister to have? You know what I'm saying? You know, even in some instances, like you will want your dad to be, you know what I'm saying, to be good to your mom, or if it's a stepfather, you know what I mean. You want him to be good to your mom.
right,
You know what I mean? So you want to be able to lead by example. You know what I'm
right.
saying? You
Yeah,
know, and it's a snowball effect. Like the more we keep teaching our young men, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, the streets ain't it, man. You know
right,
what I'm saying? Like I understand, like, you know, born and raised in the hood, man. You know what I'm saying? Made it out, got 2 college degrees, you know what I'm saying? But,
I got a degree.
oh
No,
yeah.
no,
See,
I was,
brothers with
the KS.
degrees.
I got the PhD.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it was tough. It was tough in
Yeah.
the hood because
Yeah.
it's the mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
the streets can swallow you so quick, just
Yeah.
like
They
that.
can.
And it be over. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, if you I put it this way. If that was an option for you, like, because um there are some circumstances where the streets might be the only option for that child.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you, like for instance, it was an actual movie on this too. I think it was called I think it was called Mister. I think Jennifer Hudson played in there. It was a really good movie. There's a kid in the projects,
Hmm.
and his mother was on drugs,
Yeah.
and she was abusing, and she was doing certain things, wild things to basically bring some money in the household.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some instances where she was just using it for drugs, and he would see his mom like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? But he had to take care of this. I think it was his little cousin, and they would follow around, and
Right.
he had to go out there and try to make money. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? He was like
Yeah.
doing. He was a little kid, like
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
out there. He was getting jumped. He was getting beat up and stuff like that. And I had to see his mom in this situation, and his mom
Right.
ended up moving, and you know what I'm saying. And but he
Yeah.
wanted to keep the home because he didn't want the police to come and take them out. Now the police noticed, like, wait a second, I know those kids keep going in that home. I know it ain't nobody there. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they would just run. They would just run through the projects, just trying to, basically go into the store, stealing, to get some bread, a loaf of bread, and you know what I'm saying, to make
Right.
some
Yeah.
food. Now there are some, like I said, there are some instances like, yeah,
Yeah.
the
Outliers.
streets,
Outliers. Yeah.
outliers, exactly. Like these are the options that you have limited to you. You know what I mean? But it's not for you to stay there. Once you get to a certain age, especially, you know what I'm saying, and you see that you have the ability, thanks to MLK, you know what I'm saying, we not segregated. We can go to a library, pick up a book, read through it. You know what I'm saying? For some things that may interest you, be like, okay, cool. I want to go be a laborer. Start there. You grow. You grow in there. You know what I'm saying? Be cool with everybody. Be respectful. And no. And here's the deal. Nobody's asking you to be, this tip top shape, well spoken person. You know what I'm saying? We're just asking you to be able to have the ability and the drive to
Right.
want to get something. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? To elevate
Absolutely.
your life. You know.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you mentioned 1099. Like if like if men, like if you don't want to, if you don't want to pursue a second level degree, bachelor's, bachelor's, MBA, PhD. I'm a PhD.
I'm a
But yeah,
PhD.
so like if you don't want to, like if you don't want to y- pursue that, you could be a truck driver. You can you can learn a skill. You can still have the ability to make a very good amount of money. Like there's a lot of money in construction. There's a lot of
Mhm.
money in and a lot of money in driving trucks. Like the people like I know one of my friends, he drives like the 18 wheel trucks, and he makes about 150, 160,000 a year.
Exactly.
You know, they said college isn't
Exactly.
for me.
Hmm.
Got his what is the license you need to drive a truck? CDL, like CDL, I believe.
Class A. You got that
Class A,
CDL
pardon me.
Class A.
Yes,
Hmm.
yeah, Class A. Took the test, got the Class A, and he's doing well. He's doing very well for himself. So I mean, what Lenny and I both are saying is that you have options. There are outliers where unfortunately there are certain individuals who don't have that option, but most of us do have that option, and let's take advantage of those opportunities. You mentioned MLK. You're right. Things aren't as segregated as they were, not nearly back in the day. You can go to the library. Shoot, you can go on Amazon and order books. We
Exactly.
we we have a
Hmm.
lot of opportunity, and we really, as men, need to take advantage of those opportunities because You can't be a leader without purpose or vision.
Absolutely. I agree.
And
I
I'll leave it
agree
there.
100%. I agree 100%. I don't even have no more to say with that. I agree up 100%.
Yes, sir. Yes,
100%.
sir. All right. So for the people, soon you will definitely be seeing Lenny and I doing more collaborations in the future. I got some feedback about Doughboy. Doughboy and I have something coming up in the works. There's a strong chance you might even see Lenny, Doughboy, and myself together. So we're just putting some things together right now. But again, coming into 2022, I am coming in strong, furious, and I have a lot to say, and I'm bringing people on the channel who have a lot to say. And
Absolutely.
Lenny, let them know where they can find you.
Yeah, definitely. You can catch me on YouTube. You could type in the Sigma Lenny Show. You can get me on Instagram as well at the Sigma Lenny Show. And I'm also on TikTok as well at the Sigma Lenny Show. So most of them is at the Sigma Lenny Show, and you
There you
guys will
go.
be able to find me. Facebook as well.
All right, perfect, man. Perfect, perfect. Thank you for coming on. I appreciate your time, brother. And
I appreciate you.
we will definitely be talking soon. I will have a link to Lenny's channel below in the description. Make sure that you check his page out. He's really got some very good content. And all I have to say is be purposely purposeful. And I am out.
God bless.